RC late night, no big deal. Wrenching a little bit. Whatever. Live. How are you? If you're here, my StreamYard thing, I let the coverage lapse, and so I want to see how good it is. What up, Dad? So, yeah, I was paying like $45 a month for this, and I want to see how good the free one is. Supposed to be better resolution when you pay. Who knows? Chris, what's up? But I'm wrenching a little bit. I got my bumpers for this, which means I don't have to wreck this really nice oversized bumper for a Chevy that I have. So I want to put on the stock bumper back on. What is up? Yeah, so this has been completely done. New motor, receiver, radio system. That's cool. And I want to run it with this, but I didn't really want to run it with this wrong bumper on it. And the only reason the bumper broke is because it completely drove off the table really fast. Like 4 feet drop. So there's that. Was gonna go out this morning, but it didn't happen. Everybody changed their mind, and so I didn't go by myself. Yeah, that's a metal RC 4-wheel drive, like Chevy, old school Chevy bumper. And so I ordered the stock bumpers at FMS. I think there's just a minimal amount of assembly to that. What's up, Jackson RC Aviation? You getting to fly some, man? You guys driving, rocking some crawlers? What's going on? Bashing, racing, holiday style. I should look at the old bumper to see. All right, I'll let you guys choose. So, low profile pedestrian bumper or the bull bumper I had on it. I want the bull bumper that I had on it. You guys tell me real quick in the comments what you think. What you think about it. Craig. Yes. The bulletin bumper. All right. That's kind of what I'm thinking, which I think the truck came with, but it's not on there. You have to put it on. All right. I'll do the bull bumper. Where's the old bull bumper so I can just look at it? There it is. Bull bumper. All right. Yeah, this is the old one. There's really nothing wrong with it except for the mount broke. But there's an offset to it, so I want to see how that goes. Okay, cool. Same old, doing a little both. Got the mini XRT for the grandson. Nice. I'm just going to leave that one new and nice and steal the hardware bits. I'll just reuse the same one. It's the back piece that broke. It's a two-piece deal. Gav, what up? Are you Gavin we flew with in Florida? Man, you got to be 20 now or something. How are you? Yes, this has the bumper does not have lights, but the truck does. You have this truck, Dad. I did fix the lights. What's up, Dwayne? You guys apparently got nothing else going on either. And for some people, it's not late. Where I'm at, it's like 11:30. Craig Beaven, would it be worth swapping my DX9 for NX10? If you're happy with your DX9, the NX10 is awesome. And it's new, and it'll be supported in the future for a long time to come. But it's a great radio also. 8:49 Pacific for you. Yeah. I was going to say, like, West Coasters, it's like 2 or 3 hours behind too. So it's a great radio, the NX10. And if you want, when you do get a new radio, if you want it to feel something familiar to you, like the DX9 you're used to, it is a great choice. Absolutely. It's going to feel very, very, very similar. It's just the only difference is going to be that it's got, kind of modern hardware in it, software in it that can accommodate, some of the new things we're seeing in the market today as far as technology. My advice is to keep the DX9. So both the NX10 and the DX9 can force DSM2, which means it can use older DSM2 receivers, which is nice. So the NX10 and the DX9 both are able to do modern protocol DSMX and force DSM2. It does have turn signals, but I unplugged mine. I'll plug this in and show you. I still have my lights. I can't turn them off and on anymore because I changed the receiver. So I had to bypass their light controller because it's super unique to that ESC receiver situation. Sometimes it's nice to look at the old one to see what screw holes it was using. But you can't always tell. Two months away from 20. Yeah, I nailed it then. I mean, that's a pretty good guess. Yeah, I remember you. Good to see you. You still flying? Dwayne, man, great having you guys popping in. So, if a steering spring broke on my remotes, I have fixed it myself, but I have a DX5 Pro. Don't feel comfortable doing it myself. Have you ever had to send one in? Yes, I have. And they are amazing at what they do there. The DX5 Pro has a whole different, like I have a bunch, like my DX5C, I stole a wheel off a ready to run DX3 and changed it on the DX5C, and it's no big deal. But the DX5 Pro has its own setup. It's a different kind of mechanism. And so if you had an RTR radio laying around that you wanted to repair it with, I'm not sure it would work for you. When you send it in, basically you just contact them. They'll send you a form that you're going to print off, and then you fill that out, put it in the box with the item, and send it off to the address. And that's a pretty easy fix probably for them. It shouldn't cost more than $50. And yeah, let them do it. I would say 2 weeks max probably on the turnaround. I guess it probably would depend on what's going on volume-wise for them. Let's go ahead and fire this up while I'm putting the lid back on and everything. Yes, Dwayne. Just email them, tell them, you don't have to be specific, but it's like, hey, I want to send my DX5 Pro in for service. Can you give me the form and the address? Coffee Cup RC, what up? We're just doing a little tiny bit of wrenching, nothing, no big deal. But let me get the camera down on this a little bit. Better. Yeah, I'm drinking coffee at midnight. Let's see. So, did I name this? I hope I named this. Model Select LC80. I did it. I am starting to be a real good boy when it comes to my models now. Yeah. Let me know if you have any trouble with that, Dwayne, because I can steer you in the right direction. I mean, basically, you're just going to reach out to product support. I think when you reach out, you have two opportunities to go customer service or product support. Just go product support right away, and that should get you there. Where'd I put the switch? There it is. And there's my Y connectors, because now I'm no longer relying on the magnetic connections to do the lights. I have to do it myself. So the light controller is back here, and it's specific to their 2-in-1 ESC. And it doesn't matter. It didn't work for me no matter what I did. So I just pulled the light leads out of the light controller, plugged them into a big Y connector I have, and now I'm good to go. I never wanted to turn signals anyway, so no worries there. I simply just plug this in. I got plenty of slack too. If I wanted to leave it plugged in, I could. Oh, Chris, I see. I wondered how those were going to look. They look like a good choice, though, for you know, you ever run into another build where you don't want to cut on arches, that's a good one. That's a good choice. So I'm doing this partly to show Dad what's going on and to also just make sure I get the yeah, this thing's lit up pretty good. And so because I don't have the light controller, this is what I get all the time. So if I don't want lights, I just don't plug them in. Have a built-in light controller. Well, the thing with this is this, it's the specific FMS nature of it, I think, is what makes it an issue. All right, so now I know where to put the screws. That's what I was doing this for. It's that easy. Happy RC Flyer. Happy New Year. Yes. Dad, yeah, man. Turn signals on a rock crawler. Never been for me. I mean, they would always be going off, you know? So look how nice and smooth the this son of a bitch is fast. I still have the 2-speed. This is a 2300 kV motor. It's a crawler motor, but it's still kind of hot. Definitely overkill, I'd say. Let's just crawl over the wrench really fast. I love it. And the drag brake's good. This rig deserved that. So now it's got it. Goodyear MTRs. They stick out wide, so I got a wider footprint now. That's it. So I can't wait to run this. You guys want to see a run on this with the upgraded power system and new brushless motor? Let me know, because I want to do it. So I'm not going to unplug the lights. I'll just leave them plugged in and power it down. I think this rig will behave a lot better. I did a stock run at one of our favorite locations on this rig. And so now I'm taking it out with some of the, I think, best bang for your buck mods. Brushless power and, you know, little better tires. Yeah, this is a killer rig. It really is. It's like getting a $550 rig for $350. It's like getting a TRX4 for cheap. I like it. So, yeah, now that the lights aren't blinding you, you can see how much wider the tires stick out from the body. That's going to help quite a bit. Straight axle, which I kind of like. The asymmetrical Goodyear MTRs, those are weird. There you can see them sticking out. It's a nice rig. It really is. And they do have a pro version of this if you wanted to get portals and brushless out of the box. You could. Nice little rock rails. Tucks the body in kind of nice. Okay, cool. So that one's back together. Got the bumper repaired, and that one's good to go. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's a good. I mean, listen, it's a trail. The thing is, they call a lot of stuff trail trucks, even though they're wildly good at performance. But they gotta be. I mean, it's tall center of gravity. You got the roof rack on it and stuff. It's nice. The FMS Tarbosaurus 5th scale 6x6 flatbed. Man, we may have to look at that because I'm not super familiar with it, to be honest. And while you're getting your DX5 Pro fixed, dude, the DXC Plus, I don't know which version of 5 Pro you have, but there's only some versions that will bind up to SLT. This isn't much. I don't know about the FMS rig. We'll look at it here in a minute. This is pretty inexpensive for being a good radio. And what's great about this with the dual protocol, SLT and DSMR, is that I've got this also bound up to my little Mojave Groms and stuff. So that's great. That's great. So I have a handful of SLT 2s and 3s I don't need anymore. Used to, now depending on the variation of 5 Pro you have, you can or cannot do an update and be able to bind to SLT2. So it depends on which version that is. And the truth is not necessarily written on the battery door. Once you register at My Spectrum, then it'll tell you the true part number of your radio, and then you'll know whether or not the 5 Pro could handle SLT2. Anyway, this is a great radio. This is just like the 5C I had, except it does more channels than that. Nice. Nice. If you like having a radio that's programmable without having to hold the thing to the, do all this crazy stuff like you have to with ready to run radios, then I like the Pro, except I can't hardly steer one-handed with the Pro because of where the steering wheel is. It's tougher. And what's nice about this is if I take this wheel off and put on one of the crawler wheels with the thumb knob, I'm like, no problem. I can do it. I should do it right now. You want me to? I'll do it right now. Let's do it. I got a DX3 that's not good that I'll change. Which one is it? What the hell? I'll take it off of this one. All right. I'm going to change the wheel. So this one has the thumb deal, which is actually super nice. And I'm going to go with hand tools and not the driver on this. Is that Phillips? You got to be kidding me. It is. It is Phillips. The stance of the truck, or the Phoenix stance. And then we'll look at that FMS Tarbosaurus deal. I may need a bigger screwdriver for this. Yeah, Happy RC Flyer. They can be tricky. They can be tricky. So that is a Phillips screwdriver. So on the DX3 and DX5C, DX6C, DXC Plus, you'll have that kind of nub, but it's a different nub on the Pro. All right, so this one is a 2. Nope, 1.5. I do like some RTR controllers are very nice. The DX3s really are good. But I'm starting to move everything over to the C+. A couple of my SCX6s are on the C+ now. And when you do this, you want to make sure there are no bits involved. You don't want to lose anything. Hopefully this is just the same. Oh yeah, that's going to be fine. That is not the same. Son of a biscuit eater. We'll see if it fits. It's slightly different on the inside. We'll see if it fits. There's an extra little piece inside of them, that half circle, and they're in different locations. I did pull this off on my 5C. Oh yeah, that's going to be fine. See, I got my thumb wheel back. Great. I do want my flashlight. You do want to put the same screw back in. I got you, Dwayne. The screws are different into the post on the radio, so I'm using the stock screw here. I actually, yeah, let's go for it. There's a little discrepancy on the depth, but I don't think it's going to come off. And if I have to throw washers in there or a little spacer, I can. But it's staying on fine. And it's worth it for me to have the thumb wheel. So I will put this wheel now on there and store it on this one in case I need to change back. Yeah, for boats, anything. I like that thumb lever as well. So if I have to change it back, I can. But it's just a slight difference in the screws and the depth and the thickness of the screw, or I would have just put the kept the screws with the wheel, but I kept the screws with the remotes instead. And you can get one thumb on them without the thumb knob, but it's tougher. And when we're trailing, it's so nice just to not have to stretch as far or dig into your belly to do it. I legit just need a little tiny spacer for that. I may go ahead and just get that done right now. And there may be a multitude of things I can use to achieve it. Just a spacer, that's it. I think this zip tie little nub is going to actually be fine for a spacer, to be honest. Let's do it. I don't have washers this small. I have washers this small, but the hole's too big. Even a small nut would do it, actually. Tarbosaurus. I'll try to find it. Yeah, give me a sec. I'll try to find it. Yeah, just a little square end on a zip tie, and now it's spaced out, so there's no way it's going to come off. All right, man. My DXC Plus is crawler-fied. I suppose I could have took the one off of the... I already did it to my 5C. This radio is absolutely fine, and you can see it looks just like the C Plus. Very, very, very similar. But this one needs to get sent in for the scroll wheel, and then I can sell it or whatever. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Have a radio, why don't you? Wild Bill, what up, dude? Tarbosaurus. I may change over SCX6 body too, because I want to put my Ford back on for rough Ranger wintertime operations. See if I can find this Tarbosaurus. Oh, it's Cross RC. Okay. The Cross stuff is expensive, I believe. Some of that looks really good. I haven't had any. Is it a military truck? Emo XX2. XXL2. Is it that big military looking joint? Oh, interesting. Those things look nice, bro. I'm not huge into 6x6s, but I get it. They're these emos look good. I'll pull one up here. Wow. Let's see. Share. Look at that. There's the 6x6 with the bed, that Tarbosaurus. Those are big, huh? Those are like fist scale. That's killer. They've got some really neat military vehicles too. All right. Nice. Yeah. What's the price on something like that? Yeah, I think I saw that on the Scale News the other day. They were talking about it. I think I need to fix the Ford before I actually put it back on. $1,900, yeah. Nope. Let's look at this Ford body real quick. I need to do some work on it. I think I'm gonna have to dig up a 3D printed piece I got to fix it though. But I pulled one out, so I think I got it. Good old Ford. Yeah, I think I broke Yep. My little keeper on the front here. I'm just going to glue it though. Pretty sure that would be the last delivery I ever received alive. Yeah. Yeah, I am just going to glue that actually and factually because it's already in there so good. I think I can get away with that. For one more time, one more run. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. One more time. $3,100 for the T-Rex. I think if I was going to spend that much money on a rig, I'd totally get the Origin. The that Vanquish $3,500 kit. I think I'd do that first. Happy New Year, Meat Servo. I'm just getting ready to put this body on the 54 Chevy chassis and give myself a body that I really don't mind thrashing on to run those new Trepidors in the snow. And I do have another one of these plastic pieces, but this one's in good enough that I am gonna just fix it. Real quick, like first. It's that easy on this stuff. And the way it bolts down and holds down, it'll be fine. It will be fine. And honestly, I could even reinforce this. Building a Armacentin from a Typhon roller. Nice. Same chassis length, wheelbase. Have a good one, RC Flyer. Yes, don't fall asleep in church tomorrow. 100%. 100%. And if a little glue is good, a little more is better. And these little pieces, I've got a bunch of them. If I need to print, I already have other ones printed off, but this one's in there so good, I'm not going to mess with it. The 6S version. Ooh, okay. Yeah. Same deal, though. Metal chassis. Same wheelbase kind of situation. All right. This window's broken, all kinds of stuff. Steering wheel needs fixed as well. Maybe I'll do that. It's hard to do from underneath, though. How did he break? That may be another time I could actually do it, though. I think I know what I'm going to do. Where's my snippy snips? I just had them. Snippy snips. I'm thinking about doing I've got a low Z tenacity, but I need I was going to put in a completely different power system and center diff and just manufacture it to work. Because I can't get a hold of the stock stuff. I went in too far. It's okay. Fine. See if I care. Chase, I'm getting ready to, I'm just getting this body dialed back in to put on one of my SCX6s. So I'm just fixing a steering wheel, actually, real quick like, with zip tie. It's actually a really good way to do it. Looks clumsy from here, I know. Come on. The steering wheel is totally just for looks. But I like looks. So yeah, I'm just doing this minor repair, and then we're going to put it on my other chassis. TRX4 inbuild, nice. I'll drill one little relief hole here. And that will work for now. Yeah, the steering wheel is just nothing but cosmetic, but I want it to work. I want it there, so I'm doing it. I'm just fixing it. It just broke. I probably moved the driver around too much one time. So I'm just going to fix it. I just ran a zip tie through the mesh. You know how there's a mesh in your 3D prints? So you basically have these channels that you can run stuff through or beef up with a stick or a toothpick or whatever. And so that's what I've done. So it's like a splint. And then I can glue it as well back in place and be fairly assured it's going to stay. And if the glue joint breaks, it's got a splint in it. And it's like 2 bolts to get off this Chevy body. So that'll be easy. All right. So the Ford body is actually ready to go again. Red door. Ford body's ready to go. We'll bring the Chevy over here and switch them right now. Big screwdriver, I'm going to need it. Oh, Franco, that's cool. Hey, hold up. I got a Winnebago. I haven't done any interior, but I'm on a leaf sprung FMS Jimny chassis. I don't have the roof, but I put lights on it. I use the stock lenses, and there it is, Winnebago. It's nice when you want to drive around a toolbox. The leaf springs were nice because I didn't have to use a ton of shocks to support it because, as you know, it's heavy. Let's back this up just a little bit and drop the camera. Seems like an appropriate response. Nice. Yeah. Whatever it takes to keep her in it or get her in it with you. 100%. All right. Body time. So this big dog's coming off. And it takes a few screws to do. And it doesn't take long. I thrashed on this one the other day, but I don't like beating on it as hard as I do the Ford. The Ford's a better crawler too. This one, you know, it's cool, but it sits tall. The Ford sits nice and low, and the tires stick out a lot. I made it narrow. So since it's still gross in wintertime around here, this one went out in the winter the other day and it's fine, but I don't want to beat on it as much. There's those 2 screws out the back. And then I got 2 more. I think I did. You'll see. So 2 screws in the tailgate, in the back floor of the bed. And then I just slide this up a little bit and I'm off. Let's see. I need to get my extension. I'll go ahead and get it out. And unplug the lights. And that's that. That's the body all the way off. Pretty sweet, right? Now, the other screws I was talking about is this right here, which is what holds in the front. It's that piece I made unique for this 54, and it has to come out for the Ford to go on. So we'll do that right now. Nice. So yeah, 4 bolts does it on these. And then I just keep this piece with the Chevy, and whenever I want to change it back, I can. Pretty slick. That's it. So it pins into the stock body post, and then it's bolted as well through the cross member. It's that easy. Now I can clean this baby up too. I need my extension. The extension, just the IC5 extension, makes it super easy to deal with batteries and stuff. So that gets fed through. And really, this one's even easier. It's 2 bolts. So let's put it on. And before I get too far, I'm going to go ahead and feed the battery extension into the battery box right there. Done. The grill just friction fits, so I don't put it in till the end. Let's see what's holding me up. Probably the steering wheel. There it is, locked in. Sick. And then 2 bolts in the back, and this dude is done. So good. Yeah, but this, you can see it sets way lower. And once I get it all together, I'll pick it up and show you how much the tires stick out. It's really much more of a capable rig because of that. And I use the same crossmember holes on this one as I do on the Chevy. So like same 2 bolts in the back. And it's dialed. We're going to glue on the back bumper, though. I got to fix it. Nice. So good. And this is just friction fit. I didn't put lights in this one. So the front clip has been fixed. A lot of times I will zip tie it also to the chassis. So if the glue joint does break, it's still on. There it is. But you can see how those tires stick out. And this vehicle sits so much lower. So this one really is, as far as 6s go currently that I have, this is my best performing one there is. So I'm going to fix this back bumper, though, while I've got it. It's that easy, though. I'm ready. I can run it. There's the battery extension, battery box. I just want to glue on this back bumper, dude. That I don't screw them on, so when they do break, it's just a glue joint. It is literally no big deal at all. And it's fixed. I should have done it while I could flip it upside down better. Maybe that's what I'll do. Yeah, right. It's a slick switch to change the body on these. Gotta love it. Let's get the grit off the table. My big old work table. Even though this Ford's a beater, I'm still gonna put it on something nice. To flip it over. Close off his back, ladies and gentlemen. Close off his back. That way, too, if I get glue on my sweatshirt, it'll be on the inside. Okay. So heavy, dude. All right. Awesome sauce. And I'm just gluing it back on. No big deal. We usually take glue out with us to the field, too. That way, if something pops off, we can easily glue it back on. I don't even chip off the old glue. Just like send it. If I were to screw this down, when it breaks, it will break more stuff. A bumper's easier to replace than like the whole back end or whatever. So that's what I always do. Course of least. done. Beast. This thing is a beast too, boy. And now, you know, you could see before the body flexes between the bed and the cab, but it's okay. If it's flexing, that means it's not breaking. There it is. Monster. Back bumpers on. Ready to go. Sweet. I like the red door so much I had to. I changed my, I painted the door on this one. Killer. Well, that's basically what I was wanting to get done. I'm waiting on some mail because I have a whole nother basically base camp build I can do with axles and bits I have left over because of these pre-runner jobs we've been doing. And so I ordered chassis rails and just a couple little tiny bits I didn't have, like skid plate. I bought a transmission off of Amazon. That's aftermarket, simpler. We'll see how that works. And I think I'm going to make a short wheelbase 2-door Bronco with it. So I'll be cutting that chassis down and drilling some holes, but we'll see. I think that's what's going to be next. I'm waiting on this set of Corvair files to get done. And I want to do that actually for this when that happens, and probably make a 6-scale version as well. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun. So I know it's getting late. Thanks for coming by while I wrench a little bit. Anything else you guys want to rip on real quick? It's about 1 o'clock here. Time to see what's going on with the lizard people and stuff. Yeah. I wanted to test out the, I'll watch this back later and see how good it is because I quit paying for StreamYard. And so apparently now I'm on 720 resolution instead of 1080. So if it's absolute garbage, I'll sign back up. Also, when you pay, the logo is not there in the upper right. So don't know if it's all worth it. TRX4M. Man, I've been thinking a little bit about the smaller stuff lately. I don't know. It'd be real easy. I mean, we're printing these huge bodies off. But if I was into the small scale stuff, man, I could print bodies off in 1 or 2 shots instead of these big bodies we're printing. I mean, it's like 10 sections or something. Those 1/6 hard bodies, I'm printing them off. So I'm finding bodies I like on like Cults 3D or Umagine or wherever, and then I'm scaling them up to the wheelbase I need for the F86. And then I slice and dice, print them off, glue them together, finish them up. A lot of finish work, gluing, sanding, Bondo. But to answer your question, that's how we make them. And honestly, check out the RC Truck playlist. Check out the rest of the channel because I'm definitely not a live stream channel, although we do them for like 6 years now, like once a week at least. But Man, you want to see these bodies in action? I've got 4 or 5 of my own, and my other buddies locally, they print off bodies as well. So we've got a ton of 6-scale SCX6 custom rigs out there floating around. I'd sell one, yeah. I'd do custom as well if somebody wanted me to. A lot of people have actually asked me, but I don't think they want to pay what it's worth. So just for instance, if you were to shop an SCX6 Lexan body, it's like 300 some bucks. If you bought like a new Wrangler Rubicon or the Honcho body, it's like 300 bucks or something. And so these, with all the work it takes to make them, they got to be at least double that, at least. So, I mean, I think these are easily, with the work I'm putting into them, they're easily worth more than anybody wants to pay, bro. They're an art project at this point. So a fair price would be 1,500 bucks, to be honest, for a custom one. One I already had made, I'd let it rip for like 7 bills, and that's a steal. But I'd do it. I would totally do it. And so info@pilotryanmedia.com is my email address if you're interested. All my socials are listed in the description of these videos too. So you could DM me anywhere, really, Instagram or Facebook, I think. And I mean, I'd be glad to do one. I've had a lot of people talk to me about it, a lot being 3 or 4. And, you know, everybody's really interested until it's time to do it. But yeah, what's neat about it, I mean, I literally just put the way I make them. I mean, I've got like 5 SCX6 bodies and 3 SCX6s, and I can switch them around. Because you have the stock chassis. And so if you assemble, once you print off the body, you have to decide how you're going to mount it up. So I've got things I've done to do that. And a lot of times I will put a battery box in. If it's a truck, there's a battery box in there. So I can just 4 bolts, and that body is on through the cross members and stock locations where the bumpers would have been. Multiple things I can do, but I just literally switched. I just took this body off. I just took this 54 Chevy off of a chassis and switched it right now on the stream. So that's the battery box. There's videos of this running too. So, I mean, they always look better with the wheels on. But, yeah, so that's the SCX6 54 Chevy. That I literally just now tonight took it off of this one. So I just switched the bodies on this. So I just put this forward on here because it's a little better crawler for me. The wheels stick out a little more for beating on it in the wintertime. This actually has a really good aperture and approach, and it sits pretty low. And again, it's super wide. So this is my kind of really best performer SCX6. And then you can see there's a giant trimmers truck SCX6 right there. And then if you look at some of my other content, you can see I did an international snow star, like Scout, with a snow blade on it. And these are all on 6s. But I do 10 scale ones too. I mean, that's how we started. But yeah, dude, check out the videos, because more than just a run video on these trucks, I try to fold in some of the build process shots too. So you kind of get an idea of what it takes to make it happen. Yeah, man. But yeah, that's a 10 scale trimmers truck. And then that's a 6 scale one. I'm super proud of it, man. all my big rigs look really good. That's a 6 scale rig back there too. The big red International Travelall. Oh, bro, check out the videos, dude, for real. Say hi in the comments. They're right here on this channel, man. My RC truck playlist, SCX6 playlist. There's, man, tons of them. And it's usually 2 or 3 of us going out. So you'll see a video that's super dope with 2 or 3 custom, 3D printed bodies on 6s. Yeah, dude. Check it. Whether you want to buy one or not, I think it's cool. And again, I do try to fold in kind of the process of how they come to fruition. So you get to see some of the build, what it takes to make it happen. A lot of sanding and Bondo and stuff. Yeah. It's a ridiculous amount of fun. Dude, this big, hold on. I just got to bust out. This one here I'm going to show you is the first one I made 6 scale. By the way, this is the short little wheelbase Bronco I'm going to make out of that base camp when the chassis rails come. A different time. Bro, I mean, this was my first one. It's a monster. And this fits right on a SCX6. It's an old school International. The lights and the fenders and everything are like my favorite bits on this. Now this one, you can see how much material there is behind the arch. So this is a trail truck. I mean, it crawls great, but you got so much bumper hanging off there. It's just not a super excellent crawler. It's a great trail truck though. But yeah, this was the first one I made. You can almost see inside all the different colors of filament and stuff. This took, I mean, I think it was 10, maybe 12 different pieces that I put together and had to glue, sand, and finish to make it work. And I put lights in them. So it's got lights too. But there's vids of this thing running as well. And then there's a little tiny one back there behind it. But even shipping these things is big ticket. But yeah, here's a little version of that same thing. And that's kind of what's neat is once you have the files, you size it up for what you want. So this one's actually on a leaf sprung chassis, but the other one is on a SCX6. I patinaed this one. You can kind of see the patina on there. Got to hide your face or it won't focus on anything. Honestly, any printer can do it because there's so much finish work that you got to do on them anyway that the art part is up to you. So as long as you have I would say try to get the biggest print bed you can. I use a Bamboo X1C, which has a 265 millimeter print bed. Link to Bamboo in the description. But there's a lot of good printers out there, and I hit the ground running. I never had done this before, but I'm pretty handy. And man, it's really me and my buddies. Kelly, my friend, he was the guy that got me in it. He was printing 10 scale bodies all first. And so I didn't have a printer yet, and he gave me a bag full of parts, and I put one of these bodies together and then made it fit on a chassis. And while I was building it, my head's solving all these problems and wondering, what if this, what if that? And so, you know, when you have files, you can make changes to them and you can add things, you can take away. And it was awesome. So after a couple 10 scale 3D printed rigs, Kelly was like, I'm going to do a 6 scale rig. And he did. I told him he was crazy at first, but he did it. And so we've been making them since. But yeah, any FDM printer, I wouldn't worry about resin printing at all. But like we're using, a lot of people are going to print in like PETG. I use PLA. I feel like it's the less toxic since I have to share an office with it. And as long as you don't let it just sit out and cook in the sun, you'll be fine. But yeah, my printer will print multiple different types of material, but I tend to go for the PLA. The big Travelall is a mix of PLA, ASA, carbon fiber PLA. It's just whatever I had. Val and Earl's truck looks awesome. Thanks. It's both of them are fantastic. The little 10 scale leafer and then the big 6 scale. And you want to see them up and close where they belong out there on the terrain. There's videos of all of them on this channel. Yeah. Just go back and look a little bit. That you'll find them. Yeah, seriously. Dad's the one who turned me on to the trimmer's truck in the first place. This was one of the first 10 scale ones I did on my own, but I put this on an FMS leafer and I patinaed it out and stuff. It's all right. There's a license plate for the floor. But yeah, this is the FMS leaf sprung Jimny that I used the chassis from to make this one. And a lot of this thrift side bed is hand fabbed because there's no files for that. That's real wood on the tailgate and diamond plate on the bumper. And again, there's a battery box. Yeah. So this is fun. This is awesome. And the big one is, it's gorgeous as well. This one's a little truer to scale though, with the leaf springs, and then the windshield wipers are like legit, like metal windshield wipers, like cheap off of Amazon. They come in like a card. You got to snip and break it apart and put it together. Yeah. I mean, I'm an airplane guy. I'm new at this crawler stuff, really. You just have to be willing to give it a shot. And if you fail, just do it again. It's no big deal. So like the fenders on this are fenders that I repurposed for some kind of trailer and then heated them up and fabbed them to work on this. And then I made there's no files for that bumper. So I made that bumper and then skinned it with this diamond plate sheet stuff. But, you know, the more you do it, the more you kind of surprise yourself. Like I learned so much doing the last handful of rigs that when I do my big 6 scale stuff now, I'm like, it works out. It works out. So yeah, 3D printed, 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 3D printed. I think that's it. Bodies. Yeah, 3D printed, 3D printed. Oh yeah, my big international's out in the garage because literally in the winter I use it to push snow. So that's a 3D printed Scout on a base camp chassis, base camp builder's kit chassis. And so little things you learn along the way, like the bumper on this rear end actually is supposed to be much lower than that. But you can see I got it trimmed up. I sliced it in the software and made the bumper now is even with the body itself instead of hanging down another 1/2 inch. So there's little things you can do. You learn as you go. And like I've got a big version of this too with the full box back and the snowplow and everything. And the first bumper I made, it was hanging down and it's fine until you come off the top of something. And then so when I printed a new bumper, we made it this way. So tucked it up in there. Still looks the same, still looks scale, but it's less likely to get ripped off. So I've got a better departure angle on this rig and now on my big Scout as well. And I patinaed this one too a little bit. And on this one, it's a 10 scale, so it's small. It didn't make sense to go to the trouble of building a battery box, so I made a lid. And on these rigs with the coilovers, you really can't get away from the shock towers. So that's the stock bed, but it's got shock towers. It's got the body clips, the way I attach this, and like the wire for the battery. And so it didn't make sense to make a whole battery box. So I just made a lid. And it still drops in. And it looks like it's got a truck bed in it, but I'm kind of faking it. Man, Impact Junkie, I'm using the stock default settings on the X1C. So it's the stock nozzle. The files default to a 15% infill. That's usually fine. I'll go with less infill on stuff like seats and things that aren't structural, that don't matter. Every now and then I'll go real dense on an infill for something that I think it matters more. But for the most part, I just let it rip, dude. I just get them to the right size, slice them where I want. If I can pick a slice where it makes sense, where there's already going to be a seam in real life, like at a door joint or something, or a roof line, I'll do it. But most everything that you've seen, there's a seam somewhere that doesn't make sense, that you don't know is there because I file and sand and fill and paint and work on them a lot to make it go away. But it's a blast. I mean, like I said, I'm really new at it. And if you pick vehicles that don't have a lot of curves, it's actually easier. So this one, for instance, there's not a lot of curves on this one, right? It's a flat Land Rover. This was the first 3D printed rig I built. This is the one where my buddy Kelly printed off all the parts and handed them to me in a bag. And so it was the first one I ever put together. I didn't print it, but I put it together and built the base camp kit and figured out how to mount it up and everything. And you can see I got my chassis mounted tight to the floor and the body. And this is really not a bad rig. But yeah, with all these flat panels, this was, again, my first one. If you look at it real close, you can see the print lines. But because it's a flat bodied vehicle, there's not that radius that kind of gives it away. And being my first one, I was like, I am not sanding. I'm not doing anything. I just used flat paint. And I'm living with stuff on this one that I wouldn't live with now, knowing what I know and having done a few. But it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, this is the first one I ever put together, but I didn't print this one. And I got slightly smaller tires on there from Boom Racing. And I used a lot of Boom Racing. Like I use their light kit. I use some of their emblems, their metal bumpers. And so, you know, in real life, this wouldn't be a coilover, you know, linked suspension. But I've got a Land Rover here that behaves really well. And I mud flapped it. And you can see I got some of their bling on there, like with the emblems. But yeah. So the flatter the truck, the less finish work you'll have to do. This was Kelly's printer. And now when I'm looking at it, it's like I see everything. But on the trail, like driving, you wouldn't see it. And if I went nuts on it and sanded it and everything, I could really hide all of the things that make it look like it's a 3D print. And that's what I've started to do on my future or on my, you know, current rigs. This was awesome. Fun to make. This is a 3D print too, off of Fabrats from YouTube. There's videos of this thing running when it still had a chassis under it. This is probably the second one I ever did on my own. And this one printed off so well. At this point in my build life, I still wasn't sanding yet. So again, this was a pretty flat except for like the roof and just a little bit of the fender stuff. I didn't do anything but paint it. So it depends kind of what you choose and how you orient the print, how much work there's going to be. So with this one, like the roof, if you print it standing up, where the layer lines get to lay on top of each other, if there is a curve to it, it's not crazy. If I printed this roof like it sits right now, I would have had a ton of finish work to do on the top. But because I printed the roof like standing up, it wasn't a problem. So orientation, experimentation. Again, I made this one. Every glue joint is showing on this one, but I put them in spots where I could live with it. It's right on a door joint. It's on a door joint. It's on a panel line for where the hood should go. Now, this one actually does have a line not in a scale location, but so what? So what? You know, it's up to you, the modeler, to decide. But for, yeah, this one, no, I painted it, but no sanding, no finish work at all. This one worked out really good. Again, there's videos of this. That Land Rover, I didn't make a video of it yet, actually, but I didn't do any finish work on it other than paint, and it looks good too. The rest of these I have done a lot of sanding on. But when I finally get finish this one, I probably will not do anything but paint it. And the nice thing when you're doing these big ones, if you've got to cut it anyway, you might as well cut it where you want. And I have done stuff sometimes contrary to common sense, because I'm thinking ahead to the finish work. So you know you're going to have finish work somewhere. What's easier to finish is the question I ask myself. So some of these real curvy old school trucks, man, I've definitely finished them hard. But it's like a whole lot of it didn't need much. And so I kind of, the way I orient things or choose to, you know, slice and print it, I get to pick where the hard work's going to be. So a big roof, if having a lot of hard work to do on a big old, basically flat roof, it's easier to do a big flat roof than it is a bunch of stuff with some detail. So you just pick and choose. And I've learned the hard way. There are some like that red door on the Ford down here. It's smooth now, but it was so bad when I was working on it because I chose to print that door facing down. So it was on top of supports and then printed off because I didn't want to have it the door up, which would have created the need for a ton of supports. So I was saving time and filament by printing it that way, knowing I was going to have to sand and finish anyway. So yeah, I mean, stuff like that Ford 6 scale was printed in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces or something. So I'll play around with the orientation and get what I want. So the other door was fine because the way I printed it, the red door sucked, but you can't tell by looking at it now because I went crazy. That's FMS Willie's, maybe the same thing. And yeah, they call them 6 scale, but it's totally a 10 scale rig, dude. This was the first crawler I had, actually, one of them, and it's hard body, and it looks too scale to be any good at crawling, but it's actually really good for what it is. What's up, flapping? Yeah, Bob Ross. Bob Ross was driving my FJ40, but I traded him out. Richard Dreyfuss is driving my CJ7, and Scale Builder Matt is driving a lot of my rigs. Because when I bought the files from Knight Customs to do the CJ7 interior, I repurposed those files, stretch, size, cut, shrink, blow up, to use in a lot of different things. With the supports, it literally is just buttons you don't, it's gonna generate them on their own, and you get to choose if you want tree type supports or straight supports. You can play with the supports and even draw them in. Legit though, I don't mess with it. I will sometimes, and when you're slicing a file, before you say, let's do it, it'll show you how long it's going to take, how much filament it's going to use. So I'll select straight up supports, which is just straight. Wherever it needs it, it's just going to be like a building, just coming up straight. And I'll see what the numbers say. It tells me the price of the filament, basically, because it knows the volume, how long it's going to take, that kind of thing. And so then I'll go back to the preview window and I'll click tree supports and see how long it says that's going to take or how much money. It's more about the time. The time and the money is kind of the same, right? If it takes forever, it's going to cost you more generally. So if tree supports are the best thing to do on cost, sometimes I'll go that way. If straight's the best thing to do, I'll go that way. If something may be weirdly heavy or funny off balance where all the moving around of the printer doesn't let it stay put, then I'll select the full supports, which are like the buildings, so to say, coming up. But I'll also reorient, flip, and mess around with stuff. To some of these truck cabs that I've printed, I could have just sliced them in half and printed the cab, but I would slice them, the tops off, and so quarters. So instead of having all the support under the whole truck, to support the hood and the roof, man, I'm printing the hood piece in one section standing up, so I get a nice fidelity on the hood and maybe some work in the headlight area, but most of that's going to be a grill or a bumper anyway. And then I'll print the roof where I leave enough material in the slice where it comes down into the body some, so there's some kind of structure there. And then but I basically cut the amount of support material needed to do it in half, but I now also create the necessity to glue these things together and finish the glue joint. So it just depends what you want to do and what you value. If me, like, I know I'm going to do the work anyway on the finishing and stuff, it's like, fine, I'll do the extra glue joints and save the material and the time. It's just like everything, you learn by doing it. And on smaller stuff, it's less important. These 6 scale things, man, I mean, I'm telling you, it's 8 or 10 pieces to do one of these 6 scale bodies, and it's taking up most of the plate. So if a chunk of a truck is most of the plate, if I can cut the time or the support material needed to do it in half, I've saved some money. $10, $5, $6, $7 times 10 times. It's like a couple more rolls of filament, you know? Man, yeah, we have a blast over here. Normally we go live. It's me and Kelly. We'll go live Wednesday nights at 7 Eastern time. But on the weekend, I get restless and I will pop in. It's 1:25 here. I'm nuts. I need to get water and put the coffee away. I have a Vogue slab Aquila. The bed isn't very big, but it's a great budget printer, especially with a 0.4 nozzle. Yeah, you do not have to have fancy to do any of this. I mean, the X1C is a nice printer. I still am doing finish work. And most printers, when they do look, if the print looks bad, you're going to do finish work anyway, and it maybe just needs recalibrated. I mean, every now and then they all need it. I like the X1C. Very thankful to Bamboo for that. Yeah, man, do it. I'm going to bounce in about no more than 10 minutes. I'm out of here. But yeah, good times. And yeah, really, it's Kelly's fault that I'm doing this now. Cause I mean, I'm really, Kelly and I are both airplane guys, really. But I got into bashers and racing and crawlers, and so did he. And then he got into 3D printing, and then I got into 3D printing. So we feed off each other quite a bit. So you're going to see all kinds of stuff on our channels, fab work, pre-runners, but also like RTRs, like the Axial Coyote there. I've done a ton of videos on that. With the RTRs, I'm going to run them the way they come out of the box, and then I'm going to do the upgrades they recommend and show you the difference. So I've got a series on that Coyote right now. How to add the overdrive, how to add the dig, throw some brass on. The next video on the Coyote is with a different brushless power system and the dig unit being installed, see what it does out there on the rocks. So try to give you the goods. Impact Junkie, that's cool. We have a blast. We have a blast. And, you know, when we go do these running videos, what I think is great about it is not, I mean, some videos I have done by myself, but for the most part, it's me, Kirk, and Kelly out there, sometimes Sean with us. And everyone will take a spin on the rig. So, you know, you get the opinion of, you know, 3 enthusiasts about a thing. And then with the videos on the 3D printed stuff, I think you get a little bit of a story on how we got them it's nice to see the pieces before it's a finished rig, or all the Bondo on there, or in the paint process, or how did we figure out how to mount them, that kind of stuff. I'm cutting in my own, I'm making my own windows out of just whatever. You can buy Lexan or thin plexiglass. When Christmas time comes and the kids have like toys with the clear plastic stuff, I take it before I throw it away. I didn't get much this year. This kind of stuff from toys, especially the big windows, Barbies and baby dolls are the best. You can buy plastic, but if it's free, that's cool too. Yeah, man, check out. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming by. Like, I've been doing YouTube since 2012, and it was airplanes for many, many years. I still love airplanes, but it's been real easy just to like. It's dark. It's the middle of the night. I'm wrenching on these things. I'm printing these things, and the airplanes, they're amazing to go out and fly. But as far as the building and on the bench, there's not much to do unless you're fixing them after you crashed it. And you get to a point where you're not really crashing them so much. And so when my buddy gave me that bag of parts on the Land Rover, I was completely surprised how much fun it was for me to solve the problems of making it work and how to fit it to a chassis. And then my wheels got turning. And I've designed a few parts that some of the systems I've made to mount these bodies to these chassis, I did it, nothing fancy. I don't know CAD, but I can do basic Tinkercad programs. And the thing about a printer, it's like if the first one doesn't work, print it again, make a small adjustment and print it again. And so that's what I've done with some of these ways that, I mount these rigs. So it's cool. And then I really enjoy building these crawler kits. I've built 4 base camps, the Axial 10-3 builders kits. I've done 4. I'm getting ready to do 5. I've done a Vanquish kit. I've taken apart those FMS Jimny 6-scale rigs a bunch and repurposed the chassis because it's the best cheap leaf spring chassis you'll find. So it's like we take off that Suzuki 6-scale body, and then you can move brackets and mounting locations and stuff around and make it work. And the transmission and motor is super compact. So if you want to scale interior, it's the best cheap leaf sprung kit out there. I've done 5 of those. The Winnebago, the Travelall, Dad's truck. What else? And the FJ40 and the Michigan, which came as coilovers, but I put those same leaf springs on them. And I've done a RC 4-wheel drive kit too. I have a plastic 70s metal axle VW bug toy I turned into a detailed 1/18 scale Baja bug using a WPL D12 mini chassis extended with popsicle sticks and epoxy and converted 2S with 1.0 crawler tires. Cool. FMS does make some neat stuff for the money. At the beginning of the show, I was showing the LC80, which I just put brushless. This is the straight axle version, which is, I like straight axle, but I changed the tires out. I got some Goodyear MTRs in here, and I put a brushless power system in this. And for guys that are new to crawling, the brushless power system is not about speed as much as it is a really good drag brake and super great low throttle control. So this one has that now, but I did a stock run of this before I did anything, so people know what to expect out of the box. This is basically a $550 TRX4 for $350 FMS price. Links in the Discro. This stuff, like to the websites. I don't usually do the specific ones, but yeah, so you can see a stock run on this killer LC80. So the FMS rigs are very different. This one is built like a TRX4 underneath, very much. But then the Willie's Wagon and the FJ40 and the Michigan, they are not built like a TRX4 underneath. And but they're still good rigs. They're FMS. They call this 6 scale, but it's really 10 scale. When you put the wheelbases up to a regular 10 scale, that's where you're at. Hard body for inexpensive, you cannot beat the FMS FJ40 or the Michigan Jeep. But I did the leaf spring kit on this, and this is the exact same chassis that's on the bottom of those Jimneys, 1/6 scale Jimneys I was talking about. So FMS, completely different chassis. But all of my Jimny builds, same chassis, dude. This, same chassis as the FJ40. Same chassis as the Jimny. Both FMS, completely different, though, than the LC80 and the K5 they have. The Atlas they have is going to be this, same chassis. But it's all workable stuff, man. It's cool. And so, that's a Jimny chassis. That's a Jimny chassis. The Winnebago up here is on a Jimny chassis. The Golden Nugget Suzuki is a Jimny chassis. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I got the grill before they changed it, I think. Seven slot. I got one of the OG Michigans. I've never actually. So yeah, the Michigan doesn't come with leaves on it, but again, the Jimny, the Michigan, the Atlas, the FJ40, they are a family of FMS rigs. Whether they call it 6 scale or 10 scale, it's the same chassis. So the leaf kits work on those. What's interesting about the Jimny, though, is that they underspring the leaves. So there's a really, the ride height is garbage. It's really low. But you can undo those U-bolts and flip the leaves to the top of the axle and get ride height. You can do a lot. You can move stuff around, and it's cool. After that, the only trick is the geometry changes when you drop the ride height. So at your steering servo, you're going to lose a bunch of steering unless you just space it out, like space out off the servo, drop it down, tuck it up, whatever you got to do to get your geometry back for the steering. That's it. Change some bolts, use some pivot balls or something to space out what used to be just a flat connection, space it out a little bit. You're fine. Dude, my FMS FJ is dynamite. It's on leaf springs now. I upgraded the servo, and it's got the brushless like 1800 hobby wing in it. Most stuff has brushless motors in it now. That's up here. Some of the stock stuff, no. The Willie still has the stock motor, and the Michigan still has the stock motor. Everything else is brushless back there. Dude, yeah, the Hobby Wing FOC, dude, 1800 is dynamite. Squirrel got lost in the Spectrum website. Did you check out the Tarbosaurus 6x6? I did a little bit, yes. We were talking about it, the price and all that, the Cross RC. That's one thing I haven't got a chance to experience. But I'd be glad to. But I can't drop that kind of coin personally. I got a handful of little projects here I need to finish up. And I keep making new ones. Instead of finishing that Unimog TRX4 I'm doing for a year now, I keep on doing new base camps and pre-runners. So like that Bug, it's a base camp chassis, but we put the twin I-beam kits on them. And so we've got a crawler that'll go 38 miles an hour now, 2-wheel drive. So we bash those around on the beach and jump them and everything. Videos of it as well. So yeah, I've got the Lightning Bug pre-runner 2-wheel drive, and then the yeah, this is killer. And this is just a 10 axial SCX 10.3 with the Proline twin I-beam kit on here. Oh yeah, I love this. It's killer. And it's on, it'll go 38 miles an hour. But you don't need to go 38 to race. 25 is actually the sweet spot. But me and my buddies, just like these 3D prints, we're all doing these twin I-beams. So starting off with the 10.3 kit, or just a 10.3, you can hear it. It sounds like a basher, the mesh. But yeah, so this is my first pre-runner I made, and it's a base camp builder's kit with the twin I-beam kit on there. It's awesome. And this is the second pre-runner I'm making. Now this one is on the same chassis, but I haven't done the twin I-beam kit yet because it's winter time. So this one's still 4-wheel drive, but it's fast. But it's a crawler. But with the twin I-beam kit, you get the front. You don't. They're not on here. They were on the other one. I haven't assembled it yet on the front of this, but I do have the trailing links. This stuff here, that's part of the twin I-beam kit. So you get that desert truck business. And we've got videos of these. The beach runs with the Lightning Bug as my favorite. My favorite. This one, there's no video on it yet. Now, the very first 2-wheel drive pre-runner I made, it was this body on that one. And then what's cool about these kits is you can stretch out the trailing links or whatever. So I got that's actually a short course bug body on a 10 scale crawler. So a short course body is actually bigger. But depending on how you assemble these trailing links, you can see there's 3 different holes there on the trailing links. You can shorten up the wheelbase or you can stretch it out. So if you stretch it out, you get 10 more millimeters. And then we put like axle extensions this way. And so a short course body like that fits on a 10 scale crawler if you take that 10 millimeter stretch and then you go with like axle extensions. So this one is a stock wheelbase 10 scale pre-runner. And this one is a little wider and a little longer. It's hard to tell here, but yeah, this is a short course bug body. So I stretched it out, and having a longer wheelbase and a wider footprint, helps keep it on its wheels. And eventually this one may be that. I don't know yet, but since there's still snow on the ground, I wanted to keep it 4-wheel drive because these suck because there's no power to the front if it's slick out. Red door, come on. So, yeah. So that one will be a twin. The top one will be my goal. I don't know if anybody watches Matt's Off-Road Recovery, but they're working on this 1960s 2-door Corvair, turning it into a desert racer. Sweet Caroline. That's probably what that one's going to be. So the body, that brown body with the red door, is just kind of a placeholder because I had it. When I built my first pre-runner, that's the one I had on it. But then I decided to stretch and blah, blah. So yeah, lightning bug happened. It's a blast. We have an absolute blast, and they're super tough. A gyro. Yeah. So the power systems that we're using, like in my case, the old original Vortex 3S BLX power system and receiver with the active vehicle control is what's in that one. And then I've got a Tenacity power system in the other one. And I've got AVC receivers in both of them. So we can screw with the gyros. And my buddies are running gyros in theirs too. Yeah, dude. They're out in Johnson Valley already. I bet King of the Hammers, dude, Vanquish is going to be there. So the twin I-beam kit deletes the front drive axle and is basically a trophy truck kit then. Yes. And that's why I bought another set of chassis rails and a rear axle, because I had an extra front axle. And I'm like, well, let's just build another rig. So yeah, you take off a bunch of links. The whole idea was that I would probably film doing the twin I-beam kit to that second one. So I may, but yeah, you take off the whole front axle, drive shaft, a couple of the links in the back because you're putting those trailing arms on. So you get to lose the lower links on the rear end. So with all those links that came off, like all I had to buy was 2 chassis rails, rear axle, skid plate, and the servo mount to make a whole nother crawler. And I still have an extra front axle once I do that, and more links again. So yeah. Basecamp Builders Kit, they're fantastic. I did a couple build videos on the Basecamp Builders Kit as well, and then I stopped because the footage I have sucks, and it's like no one watched the second one because it's a 2-parter already, and if I finish it, it'll be like a 4-parter, but no one watched the second one really. So I'm like, and the footage I have sucks already. I'm not going to take it apart just to film it again. So there's that. But the hard part, the first 2 parts, there's a Basecamp Builders Kit videos on this channel. But the last part, the easy stuff, is you'll have to just rely on the manual, which is pretty good. The Gladiator. Oh, the Trimmer's truck. So I'm not being stingy at all. I'm really just not that smart, to be honest with you. Like, so much of it is custom and weird that I would never wish it on anybody. It's most of these other files, it's easy. Just buy the files and do it. But both versions of the Trimmer's truck, I had to do so much weird stuff on the bed that it's like, man, I don't know how. It's a mess. It's a mess. So the only files I would have are, I think, my slices, if I could even retrieve them. Honestly, man, you don't want it, just because what it took to do it. I think in the video it shows a lot of what was going on. Like, I had to fab up so much of that one because we bought 2 sets of files to do that truck. One set of files was fine for the front, the cab, but the bed was just regular, didn't have the thrift side and the cool fenders and everything. So then we bought another file for like 80 some bucks that was actually a thrift side. Those expensive files were the worst files. So when you couldn't separate the axle, and because a lot of these files were just, they're for scale model people. They're not expecting RCs to be made with it. So it's a small thing. They think you're going to print it off in one chunk. And so I could not separate out the axles and the leaf springs and the drive shaft from the bed. So you could chop it and cut the bed off from the cab, but you still got the wheels and everything there. You don't want the wheels, the 3D printed wheels and axles and all that crap together. You don't want it. But it's the only way to get the file to work with. So you can kind of shed layers away from a file sometimes by kind of, in a way, dismantling it. And so on that one, I got the walls of the bed and the top of the walls that have a little profile and a curl, but no fenders, none of the boxes down at the bottom, no bumper, no floor. And so I fabbed the rest to make it work on that one. When I did the big one, I really want, man, the big one is gorgeous. I guess we're all still up. Hold on. Surfboard, sunglasses, window plastics, Ford. This thing's so gorgeous, though, dude. It's really. Okay. So the profile, let me show you from the back. The profile of the bed rails and the fenders themselves are super important to the look of this truck. Look at the top of the rails, you know what I mean? And so are these boxes on the bottom. I made the bumper out of construction foam, and then we scanned it, and then I printed it. So I couldn't even get the bumper. I made myself, this white business. But so yeah, you can find files for the cab and a regular bed, but the thrift side, you can't get it. So we bought these $80 files, and it was all there. So because I already fabbed up the little one, I decided on this one, let me see what I can do. And so imagine this just being its own file, the whole bed, right? It's still got the axle, the leaves, the drive shaft in it. So this time I didn't want to blow the files apart and lose all of the stuff, the fender and the boxes down here. So imagine just flipping the bed upside down and slicing out big triangle, big 90-degree cut through the middle of this thing where the axle would have been. So to do this bed, I had to cut the floor off completely in the software and another X through it sideways down here under the fender where the axle would have been. So all of this here, that I filled it in now, and I built a floor and I filled it in and blah, blah, blah. But this whole bed, yeah, there's a huge no floor in it, and then where the axle would have been, it's cut out. So basically, the bed is printed without a floor and a big goofy triangle cutout under the through the fender section. And then so whatever I took out, I had to fab back in. And then this box here is hiding the shock towers. But another battery box. But yeah, on this one, I wanted to try to, and I did a ton of Bondo to it because these files were garbage. And once you make them big, if they're already garbage, once you make them this big, they're even worse. But yeah, this is one of my nicest kits at this point. And then these are stock BFGs. And then I just 3D printed the those hubs. They're like on with magnets, but that's the stock wheels underneath those old Steelies. Yeah, man. Fuzzy dice and everything. Look at that. And then I made a stencil for the Val and Earl. Yeah, this one's, I love this rig, but the departure angle sucks. Look how much is hanging off the back. So those are what you got to think about, I'd say, when you're making them. But I had to make it because that one's Dad's. He turned me on to the movie, and I made that one for him, and I got to get it to him. But I wanted to make one for me too, so I made this big one. And it's a ton of work. SCX6. Exactly. Yeah. So the thrift sides are, there's a couple different bed packages for these. What would they call them really? 20s Gladiator, I forget, J10, J20. Yeah, there's a few different bed options, and even within the thrift sides, it seems like there was a couple different bumper options. But I tried to make it as much like the movie as I could. And it's got a, you know, it's kind of patinaed. Not crazy, but it's not factory, you know. But it was a ton of work, man. And all that stuff on the back, it was not the elements that are still on this bed that I was able to salvage, they were almost just like they were floating there barely. It was a mess of a print. I did a lot of caulking with liquid nails and filling and sanding and all that stuff to get it this nice. And it's for sale, $5,000. You get the whole rig for that. And this chassis probably only been run like 2 or 3 times under it. Yeah. I don't want to get rid of it, but I would for 5. I mean, shoot, these things are 12 new. Yeah, ton of work. But yeah, man, look at it. You can do anything if you want to bad enough. A lot of sanding, filing, Bondo, dude. And man, some people don't do half the work I do on these for the finish. And they still look dynamite. It's okay. You know, that's the thing. You just do you. It doesn't matter. And honestly, there's some of these that I'm more willing to beat on than others. Like I don't want to beat on this one. It's tough. It can take it. I can lift it up by the bumper. It's bolted on in the front and it's bolted on in the back. They're tough. It's got a battery box, so I don't have to fiddle with this body to change the batteries. I used to make the battery boxes out of wood. I got smart and just found files for old crates and stretched it out and made. That's not wood. It looks like it. More reliable anyway. But yeah, man, that's it. And you can hinge the battery compartments, or magnets work too. It doesn't have to be hinged as long as it stays put. So this one magnets in. It's fine. And then I cut up moving blankets for like sleeping bags and stuff. And I buy the light kits for the F86s and then just reuse those lights. Yeah, Dwayne. Yeah, the lightning bug's actually even faster now. But yes, it does pretty good for what it is. Now it's so fast because I changed. What you're watching in that video is a 56 spur on the 26 tooth pinion. Now it's got a 40 tooth spur, 26 tooth pinion, and I also sped up the diff gear to 24/8 instead of 27/8. So now it's 38 miles an hour. It's too fast for what it is. But what's nice about that 38 is now I can run it on 2S and still be fast. I don't have to run it on 3S, so I can save my 3S batteries for stuff like this. So yeah, it's even faster. Every video we've made on the pre-runners, they're faster. Yeah, dude. It was plenty fast in the video. Yeah. I have all these 2S batteries that I don't really use them for anything else. So I was like, dude, if I can gear this thing up hot enough, I can run 2S. Yeah, the lightning bug is 38 miles an hour as it sits right now with those are slightly smaller old school Mickey Thompsons on that lightning bug right now because the tires I like for traction, they balloon too big at that speed. So for the speed run, I put slightly smaller tires on it, like on there now, and I got like 38.6 out in the street on 3S. So now I can use my 2S batteries. So we go for speed for bragging rights, but when we're out there together on the beach, it's all about drivability, really. And we all kind of approach this a little differently in regards to how we accommodate our suspension and things like that. I did buy some bigger stroke shocks with reservoirs. So I'm going to experiment around with those suspension a little bit. My buddies got theirs so loose that then they had to put sway bars on them. I'm still on the Basecamp stock shocks. Maybe it's a little too stiff, but I don't need a sway bar. But I'm wanting to play with it a little bit. It is really neat when it's soft, but you don't want it bouncy. There's a fine line in there, and I think it's kind of hard to make happen to get those suspensions on the pre-runners super dialed. But I did buy some shocks to experiment with on the number 2 pre-runner. I'm not messing with the lightning bug really because I like it. It was good. I made it faster, so I did mess with it already, but I don't want to play with the suspension until I know what it does. But I mean, shocks are easy to take off and on, so we'll see. But yeah, the shocks I bought are a little bit longer stroke, and they've got the reservoir. So it could be just what I need. I don't know yet. but it was fast in the video. And I love it with the Patagonias on it in the sand. So I will probably put the Pats back on there. I do not need to go 38 miles an hour, but it's fun to be able to. It definitely is. Man, I was just planning on doing a couple of little things here. It worked out. A graboid tongue, yes, for the axle. Yeah, dude, that movie's good. I haven't really watched any of the other Tremors movies. I watched that one a handful of times, and like the first 20 minutes or so, I think is after that you don't really see the truck anymore. But it's a good movie. But the truck is so good. I love the truck. It was fun to make, man. It was fun to make. And I tried, dude. I mean, I tried. I've got the luggage on the side and the fire extinguisher. I think that's actually the numbers on their license plate for real in the movie. And it's a wood tailgate. And then I got the gas can. I mean, I'm trying. Oh, I bet. Oh, wow. Well, guys, it's been real. Check me out in the other content. And come say hey in the comment section or something. And come back, man. We're having a blast. This is what we do to stay busy when we're not making someone else rich somewhere. You know what I mean? And honestly, I would do custom projects, but yeah, it'll cost you a little bit. But I think it's cooler if you make it on your own. But yeah, check it out. Check it out. Glad to have you guys, all you new ones. Thanks for coming over. Yeah, good time. And normally it's me and Kelly, so it's not just one guy, which is really cool. And we're pretty competitive in a way about things. So come on. Come on. It's detailed up like my Huey models. Exactly, more detail. I actually have a window halfway down on this other side. And I think that stuff is so cool. Hold on. I always like a guy's arm hanging out. It just looks so cool to me. But on this one, it's hard to see. There you can kind of see. There's a window halfway down on this side. Yep. Big, heavy. Gotta love it. Get you that Bondo paste. Yeah, I think that's legit. The numbers that are on their license plate in the movie. Yeah, this bumper I made it out of foam, and then we scanned it, and then I printed it off and made it. I shrunk in the back window too, because the back window on these files are actually the back window is actually all the way across basically. But I made it more like the I just masked it off. It's still plexiglass, but obviously I left part of it open to shrink in the window like it is in the movie, because this file, the window's all the way across. All right, we're gonna roll. Add sunburn. Let's go. We'll see you in the next one. Check out the links in the description to the short form content. You can message me there, info@pilotryanmedia.com. If you need to get a hold of me email style. If you're shopping, the links in the description also help support the channel. Those are affiliate links. I hate to have to talk about it, but if you're going to buy stuff, Doesn't cost you nothing extra. You can help support channel. So it's cool. Appreciate you guys. Come back, everybody. Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern time. RC 3D Fab Factory is what we call the show usually. And it'll be me and Kelly here talking about whatever. So we'll see you in the next one. We're out of here in 5. Hanger Rats forever. We'll 3 you later. You're too good to be forgotten. We'll see you next time. Bye now. Boom.